Hello friends, this video on motion in a straight line part 7 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exams. Please make sure that you have watched part 1 to part 6 before going ahead with part 7. Let us now study a very important concept, that is average and instantaneous speed. So what is average speed? As the name suggests, average. That means generally average would mean mean of a journey. That is taking out average of a large number of values, something related to that. Similarly, the term instantaneous would mean it is derived from the term instant. That means it will speak of a value at a particular instant. Let us see what is average speed. It is the measure of total distance covered in a given time. Let us suppose in any journey, what is the total distance covered irrespective of the path followed to cover the journey. So the total distance covered in a journey divided by the total time to cover the journey. That is our average speed. So what is instantaneous speed? Instantaneous speed, the term instantaneous says that it is the speed at a particular instant, at one particular instant of time. So the speed, the measure of distance covered at every instant of time. Please note, this is the key word here, at every instant of time. So that is instantaneous speed. We will take an example which will make the concept of instantaneous speed and average speed very clear. Let us see here. This is Ronnie's home and this is the church. And this is Ronnie. So what do we see? Let us suppose, before proceeding, let us consider the distances first. Let us suppose that the distance between Ronnie's house and church is equal to 1 kilometer. Okay? And let us suppose that Ronnie travels from his home to the church and covers this 1 kilometer in 1 hour. That means the time taken is 1 hour for this particular journey, which happens just now. Now, what will be the average speed and the instantaneous speed in this case? Let us understand this. This is his home and this is the church. Now, when Ronnie starts from his home, we consider that was t is equal to 0. That means that was the time from which we started calculating time. So that means at that time, the time covered was 0. Correct? So this was his initial point from where he started when time is equal to 0. And he took 1 hour to cover this distance till church. So let us say that when he reached church, then the time elapsed was 1 hour. Right? Now, when I say average speed, I mean to say that the total distance traveled from home to church divided by the total time taken to go from home to church. So in this case, the average speed for this journey would be, say, V1, which will be equal to the total distance covered. So what is the total distance covered? DHC divided by the total time taken, that is T1. Now what is this value? This is 1 kilometer divided by 1 hour. So this is 1 kilometer per hour. So what is this? This is the average speed. So the average speed in traveling from his home to the church is 1 kilometer per hour. Now, so you are clear with what is average speed? It is the total distance traveled divided by the total time taken. Now let us talk of instantaneous speed. Instantaneous speed would mean the value of speed at each instant of time. Let us say the value of speed when at t is equal to 0. That is value of the speed at t equal to 0 value of speed at t is equal to say 10 minutes or at 20 minutes or at 30 minutes and so on. That means between these 2 points, at any interval of time, say from this point to this point, the value of speed at each instant of time, that is called instantaneous speed. So I hope you are clear with what is average speed and what is instantaneous speed. So right now I took a small example just to make you understand what is average speed and what is instantaneous speed, the very basic definition. Now we will proceed with this example in a broader way and we will see what are the values which we get for average speed and instantaneous speed. So let's go ahead. Now let us suppose that Ronnie first, he starts from his home, he reaches the church at this point. Now from church, he again goes to school and this is his school. And let us suppose that the distance between the church and his school, that is distance between the church and the school, this distance is equal to 2 kilometers. And Ronnie takes 2 hours to cover this 2 kilometers. That means he takes 2 hours to go from church to school. So in a very similar way, how we calculated the average speed for this journey, we can calculate the average speed for this journey as well, right? So quickly let's calculate the average speed in this case. So here the average speed, let us denote it by V2, would be equal to the distance, that is the total distance traveled divided by the total time taken. That would be equal to 2 kilometers divided by 2 hours. So that will come out to be 1 kilometer per hour. So this is the average. So this would be the average speed between traveling from church to school. Now the instantaneous speed here also would be, it can be any value of speed at any instant of time between this time and this time. Now let us suppose Ronnie again goes from his school to the playground and we say that the distance between the school and the playground is equal to 3 kilometers and the time which Ronnie takes to cover this distance is again 2 hours. Correct? So even in this case, in a very similar way, you can calculate the value of the average speed. So the average speed would be total distance traveled divided by the total time taken. That is equal to 3 by 2, which is equal to 1.5 kilometer per hour. And again, the instantaneous speed can be at any particular instant of time. So what did we see? Now, if I ask you that what is the average speed in the total journey, if I consider that the total journey is that Ronnie starts from his home and he goes to the playground. Now, while traveling from his home to the playground, what is the net average speed? That means net average speed from home to playground. So what will be this value? Because till now we calculated the average speed for this journey, again the average speed for this, and again the average speed for this. Friends, please make a note of this point that many of us think that the net average speed would be equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3, but that is completely wrong. The total average speed is never equal to the sum of the average speeds. So how will we calculate the total average speed? That will again be equal to the total distance traveled divided by the total time taken. So now let us see what is the total distance traveled. Total distance traveled is this distance plus this distance plus this distance. That means this will be equal to D home to church plus the distance from church to school plus the distance from school to playground divided by the time taken for each of them, that is T1 plus T2 plus T3. So this will come out to be 1 plus 2 plus 3 divided by 1 plus 2 plus 2. So this comes out to be 1.2 kilometers per hour. So this is the value of the average velocity for this entire journey. Correct? So let us suppose we denoted this by V. So what is the important point which we have to note from here is the net average speed for an entire journey is never equal to the average speeds of the journeys which constitute the total journey. Please make a note of this point because we often make mistake on this point. So till now we discussed what is average speed, what is instantaneous speed, how do we calculate average speed, and how do we get to know instantaneous speed. Now let us plot the graph of what we saw now so that the idea becomes even more clear. Thank you. Visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thanks once again.